Hello and welcome. This is Julie Krabanoff designing for the Etsy store Tsunami Rose Designs. And this month I created a beautiful journal using the Life Abloom Part 2 digital kit. Thanks so much for stopping by, and I have a design team project to share with you guys today that I'm really happy with. This is a design team project for Tsunami Rose, and for this month I did work with the Life Abloom Part 2 kit. This is actually one of the printable sheets that little piece that I didn't use from the kit. So I just thought because it has the name of the kit on there. It's part 2. She does have an original one. And I think she also did this one in traveler notebook size too, I think. But I just chose to work with it on with the regular size. So my journal does measure 5.5 by 8 with a 1-inch spine. I did use a file folder for my journal cover, and then just some ribbon for my stash for my binding, and then or my closure. And behind there is where I hid it, so it wraps around underneath some of the layers. I did keep the back side pretty plain, just added one of the layers of the kit, and there's some flat back pearls, and then of course the trim, and underneath the trim there is some lace underneath there. On the cover, I layered some scrapbooking paper and then a piece from her Life Abloom 2 set. And then right here is kind of some vintage paper that it comes from like a little notebook that I have, and I'm not sure what language it is. I can't quite read it, but it's old. There's a date on there that says like 1892. So quite old. And I have this image on the cover, and it's one of Tsunami Rose's images. She has some sets out there of vintage children and vintage women, so this comes from the vintage women set. And when I was going through just trying to decide what to put on the cover, it's a set that I purchased myself. I just fell in love with that picture. I don't know if she was an old-time actress or what she was, but very beautiful, and she kind of has that far-off look to her. So I chose to put her on my cover, and then to frame her off, I did add some vintage appliques that came off of a wedding dress that I purchased at the thrift store, quite a while ago, and I just started taking some of the pieces off of it. So let's get into the inside and see what I did here. It's a very beautiful kit to work with. A couple months ago I got to work with the original Life Abloom kit, which is also very lovely. They're both kits that are, full of flowers. This one also has a lot of butterflies in it. So on the inside, it's just some scrapbooking paper from my stash, and I layered one of my little pockets. These are from like some sort of wedding invitation kit that I picked up at the thrift store, but they make nice pockets, and I use them quite a bit in a lot of my journals. I had this little piece left over from the Christmas list traveler's notebook that I did last month, and so I just stuck it in here because I thought it would make a nice journaling spot, and it just says best wishes, so it doesn't necessarily have to be Christmas, so I stuck that in there. And I just had, created a little journaling card. This was from the Rosette Provision Kit of Tsunami Rose, and I added one of the big element calendar pieces because I really like these. It's a nice quick and easy spot to write down happenings when you need to. And then here's just a Tim Holtz tag. My first page, I added this little die cut rose. I had it left over from when I did the Life Abloom, the first original set. So I added it into here. And then I stamped on this Tim Holtz tag, and hopefully you guys can read it, but it's kind of a fun little quote on there. It says, "I never travel without my diary. One should always have something sensational to read in the train." And that's from Oscar Wilde, so I stuck that in there. I almost used this image right here for the cover. I really liked it. So I ended up using it as my first page. But again, the kit's full of flowers and butterflies. It's very well designed. I love it, Daisy. So I'm so happy you sent me this kit to work with. Like I said, it's very beautiful. I added some old sheet music, some old coffee-dyed stationery paper that I had left over for some other journal project. I also had some leftover craft paper that I had used when I made the Traveler's Notebook last month for my design team. So I added some of those pieces in here. Here was a piece left from Life. She has a Life Abloom paper pack, and so that came from that. And then the Life Abloom first set, this was one of the papers in there, so I just had that on the back side of that. And this doily does wrap around to the other side, and then I have a sheet from this paper kit in there. Some ledger paper. The kit does have some ephemera pieces, and she does have some coin envelopes. And so you can see right here, instead of using it as a coin envelope, I did cut off part of it. And I just used a couple little pieces just to glue it down to make flaps. And I made it into a pocket, and I just did some layering behind it. Added some trim and a little sentiment. Some little flat back pink, I don't know, you call it bling or pearl. One of her vintage shipping tags left over from another project. And since this kit was so full of butterflies, I had to add that in there. A little side tuck that I created. And in her ephemera set, you can see this little frame back here. It looks pretty similar to this little title page here. She had 3 of them on the page. And so I just fussy cut that one out, and I added one of her little decoupage pieces. And then I believe this little piece came with the set also. So I just did some layering. I did stenciling throughout the book. Another page from her kit. Like I said, it's just a gorgeous, gorgeous kit. On some of the butterflies throughout the book, I did use some Wink Stella on it, so they do have glitter on them, but I don't think that shows up on the camera. But in real life, it's pretty. A little pocket I created. It's a double pocket. So again, one of these frames right here. Then I layered up with. She had a lot of little sentiments that you could cut out on tickets and other little pieces. Which is always fun, and added some eyelash trim and a little butterfly. So I did create that into a tuck spot right there, and then behind here is a pocket. And so I just have a little journaling card. My friend Sherry gave me a whole bunch that she colored a long time ago. I think it's a Prima one from Prima. Here's a big element card from one of Daisy's kits or sets. And I coffee dyed the scrapbooking paper that I added in here. This other plain paper right here is kind of some granite or ivory paper. And I didn't coffee dye that. I just left it. Up here I created a little triangle banner. Layered another piece for the ephemera. I stuck a little journaling card in there from this set. And the scrapbooking paper that I have in here, I can't remember the name of it's a pretty popular set though that comes from Hobby Lobby. I just can't remember what the name of it is off the top of my head. Here is one of the little coin envelopes, and so what I chose to do is just layer up a piece of her ephemera on it. I added a flower and some rickrack. There's cheesecloth in the background and eyelash trim. And that's what the back of it looks like. And then I did line it with some scrapbooking paper, and I just stuck some stationery paper in there, so I'm not going to open or grab that out. Here I created a double belly band using one of her vintage advertisement pieces, and then she has these little French cards in her shop. So there's one belly band, and then here's the other one. And I stuck another piece of the ephemera in there. I printed this ephemera sheet out a couple of times, so you'll probably see this little card throughout the book here. Another piece from her set. Like I said, very, very gorgeous. So here's a little side pocket that I created just by ripping her sheet, one of her sheets, and then making it into a pocket. This is one of her vintage advertisement sets. And then she also has, this comes off of, she has like a flower ephemera set, and there's tons and tons of images of flowers. Some of them are bright and some of them are more subdued like this one. And so I just chose to shrink them down a little bit and make them into little journaling cards. So I have a few of those throughout the journal. Here's a little pocket that I created, or side tuck. And I do also have a little pocket right here, or a little tuck spot. There was a lot of tickets in this set with little sentiments on it, which I love. And on that little coin envelope where I cut part of the paper off of it, I did create my own little tags out of that just so I wasn't wasting my paper. I usually when I do that, I like to try and make something right away with my scraps instead of letting them sit around. This is just some Tim Holtz paper. One of Daisy's tags from one of her sets. One of the big element flowers that she has available in her shop. On this page, it's the scrapbooking paper from Hobby Lobby, and then just some leftover scrapbooking paper I had in my stash that I thought matched the set pretty well, and so I just added one of her mini files in there with the roses on it. On this page, I created a little tuck spot using a couple pieces of her ephemera. Some of them came from the Rose ephemera sets that she has, and then something like this ticket came from the Life Abloom set. Same with the sentiment, Stay Beautiful. And then I stuck another one of those vintage advertisement pieces in here so that there's a little pocket or tuck spot, and then this is also a pocket here too. Another one of her little tags from the Life Abloom 2 set, and again you can stick something behind there. And this is part of an envelope, and I did choose then to, on the back side of it, I just layered a piece of paper to make it into a pocket. Added one of her big element cards there. And on the back side you can see the envelope a little bit better, where the top of the envelope is folded over right here where you normally would lick it and seal it. I do, on these things, I do line that up with some paper underneath there, because I have had it where if you don't do that and you stick stuff in there, sometimes it sticks to it. So I do line that little sticky part. Some of her tags that she has available in her shop. A little sentiment, and this I think comes from the Rosette Provision set that she had out quite a while ago. That was a freebie, leftover trim. And then up here I cut off the bottom of the envelope and made it a tuck or an envelope or a spot up there. Another pocket. One of her little decoupage pieces or ephemera that I cut out, layered some eyelash trim, and this does flip up and this flips down. I like doing lots of flaps in my journals. And so on the inside I did create a pocket, but you can journal up here and of course journal down here. Another piece from that My Rose Garden paper pack that she has, and I just put that on there because this does open up, so you can journal here and then journal on the back side right there. But it doesn't stay, so I just added that little butterfly paper clip. A little flip up here pocket. One of her big element pieces that I shrunk down. I'd used some of these in that first Life Abloom journal that I did, and so I had some left over. Again, this kit is very versatile, so it mixes and matches quite well with lots of her other ephemera. Here's a paper bag that I had picked up at Hobby Lobby, and I thought it matched well, so I ended up adding it in here. I just added some rickrack and some pieces from her shop. And here's the middle of my signature, and I thought this was kind of fun. I added little butterflies in there. I saw someone else do this, it was probably over a year ago, with hearts in the middle of their journal, and I don't remember who it was, but I just happened to remember that when I was working on this journal and thought, oh, wouldn't that be fun to add a little butterflies, since her kit has butterflies and roses in it. So I did that, so it's kind of fun. Back half of that bag with some more ephemera in it. The journaling cards. I created a little pocket here using some of her rose ephemera, and I shrunk them down, but you can see I made the little pocket. I added a little piece of sentiment there with some eyelash trim. This is part of the set, the Life Abloom 2 set. This is from another vintage or some sort of tag set that she has in her shop. And this was an insert for one of her envelope sets that I had cut off. And so I just was adding that just as extra journaling space. I just don't like to throw paper if I don't have to. So I like to make stuff out of it or use it as journaling cards. Another tuck spot. Here's a pocket here, and then this is also a pocket right there, so kind of a double pocket. Like I said, a very beautifully designed kit, Daisy. I love it. But lots of different, elements to each of the pages. So, like it's on ledger paper, and she has some script there, and a butterfly, and then the little piece up there. And I used some Wink Stella on that one. Another pocket that I created using one of the big element cards. I just added some lace trim at the bottom, and there's just some stationery behind it. That back half of that envelope. So I have a pocket there, and again, a pocket up here to stick a journaling card or a tag. On the back side, I layered up a piece of ephemera from the Life Abloom 2 set and stuck some ephemera in there. And then also behind it, there's ephemera, so it's kind of a double behind the pink scrapbooking paper there. Daisy does sell in her shop these cute little pockets. And so this one does have a flower in the middle of it, but I chose to layer up a little butterfly on top of that flower. But I like how that turned out. Really cute. Some more ephemera pieces from her shop in there. And then on this one, she does have lots of big element cards, so she does have some with some roses on it. So what I chose to do, so here's what one of them looks like, so you can journal here. And this one looked the same way, but I just cut it, and then I chose to create it into a pocket on this side, so I have a top pocket right there. And then behind here, I have a tuck spot. Little pocket I made out of music notes, and then one of her little decoupage flower pieces. And I also added a sentiment that I think that came from the Rosette Provision freebie that she gave away a long time ago. She had this cute little library card in the Life Abloom ephemera pieces. And so I just layered up some more ephemera behind it because I created that into a little tuck spot. Then another piece of her paper where I had just ripped part of it. I used the other half on another earlier page, so I just used the other half right here with some stationery paper. Again, some more stenciling. But again, like I said, a beautiful, beautiful kit. A banner, tuck spot up there. Half a doily where again I layered one of her little decoupage or ephemera pieces. And put a journaling card behind there. Again, I layered up some pieces, which is one of my favorite ways to create pockets, is just to layer up pieces and create little pockets and tuck spots. So again, these all came from the Life Abloom 2 set, and then just some other pieces from her shop. Created a little pocket with some burlap, and then I added this little trim right here, this flower trim. It's the same trim that I used on the spine right here. And I just had those few pieces left, so at the very end I went through and I just glued it all there. I was going to glue individual pieces on some of the different pages, but I ended up just gluing it all there just to use it up and not have it left over. Just some ephemera pieces from our shop. Another flip pocket, and I created this using one of her paper pieces from the set. Again, I added a sentiment with some eyelash trim and a little butterfly and some rickrack across the bottom. Inside the pocket, I have another journaling card, and then I had this little rubber stamp with this little hand, or vintage glove, and so I've just had it in my stash for a long time, but I thought it looked interesting sticking out of the pocket, so I just stuck it in there. I've been trying to find a home for it for a while. Saw my stamp several years ago and never used. Piece of her ephemera from the Life Abloom 2 set. This came from one of her little journaling cards, and so I just cut it up, fussy cut around the flowers and the butterflies and created a pocket out of it. One of her little mini files there. Again, I took one of the coin envelopes and cut it down and just made it into a pocket and stuck one of her vintage shipping tags in there. But it was a great kit to work with, and like I said, it matched so many of her ephemera pieces that I had left over from other projects, so it was really nice to use up some of that stuff from my stash. Here's a little pocket I created, and it's kind of a Sue Olson inspired pocket. Sue Olson likes to make these little collars on some of her pages, so I created it into a pocket. And it's actually a double pocket because there's a pocket here and then there's a pocket back here also. And you know, I added some trim and stuff to it just to decorate it up a little bit. And then that's the last page. And then here was a piece of Happy Mail that I got. It's actually a paper bag that my friend here on YouTube, Renee, who is Wanna Scrap, sent me. It was quite a while ago and I've kept it. But it was a paper bag, so you can kind of see it opens up, and you can stick a whole bunch of stuff in there then. But she had folded it and glued it down, so that makes a nice little pocket. And I just thought it matched this kit quite well, so it ended up being put in this journal just so I could reuse it. And then again, that's my back cover. Please don't forget to leave a comment, like this video, and also subscribe to my channel if you haven't yet. Just so you can stay tuned to future design team projects for Tsunami Rose and also other paper crafting projects that I do. So thanks again and have a wonderful day.